How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Kamala Harris making up stories yet again. The first story she made up was about Kwanzaa. I'm sure there was many more things she lied about, but the one that really stands out to me was this whole thing about Kwanzaa, talking about, oh, we celebrated Kwanzaa when I was a child. First of all, she was born in 1964, 2 years before Kwanzaa was invented. Her mother's from the Indian subcontinent, on the southern part of the Indian subcontinent. Her father is from Jamaica. She was raised mostly by her mother in California and also French Canada. So how would she celebrate Kwanzaa in her household? Okay, her mom's not gonna be interested in the Pan-African woke blackity black back to Africa stuff. So why would Kamala Harris, as a child being raised by her mother? Okay, then she said it was like multi-generational. They sit around and tell stories. Tell stories about what? India, cows and mountains and stuff like that. What are you really talking about when you're talking about Kwanzaa and celebrating that as a child? It makes no sense. That was clearly a lie. And the reason why she told it is probably because she's trying to pander to the black community. And when she does that, she panders to the white liberal audience who are going to be the biggest consumers of her nonsense, not even the black folks that she is apparently trying to pander to. But I digress. The second big whopper is this whole thing about her being involved in a civil rights march when she was a child. Okay, I'm going to put the passage from the Elle magazine interview on the screen before you, and we're going to read along with it. In her wide-ranging interview with the magazine, Harris, the child of immigrants from India and Jamaica, remembered the first civil rights march she attended in the stroller, from which she fell, getting separated from her family. And let's pause right there for a minute. Separated from the family, really? I mean, does nobody hear that big time dog whistle that was just blown? That's the whole, separated from the family at the border and how traumatic it is. You're trying to play on the heartstrings, trying to play on the emotions. This is more pandering, to the illegal alien community, which is a proxy war upon which they're trying to gain the hearts of the white liberals. But again, I digress. Let's move on. Quote, my mother tells a story about how I'm fussing, unquote, Harris told Ashley C4 for Elle magazine. And she's like, baby, what do you want? What do you need? And I just looked at her and I said, Fweedom. Now, this is totally not, when I saw this at first, I'm like, come on. This makes no sense. This is complete and utter nonsense. All right. This did not happen at all. All right. Okay, so civil rights time, you are what? You can be no older than 4 years old. But beyond that, why would she even know anything about this thing? Like I said, her mother is from India. Her father is from Jamaica. They came to America for better opportunities, for education. So why would they even be wrapped up in this whole thing? And why would she say something like Fweedom? Why would she say that at all? That story makes zero sense at all. All right, just no sense. It's totally bogus. Okay, that is just a pure lie, in my humble opinion. Now, is it possible that this story is true? I mean, it's possible. It's possible for a pig to grow wings and start flying, but until I see flying swine, then I'm not really trying to hear about this story being legitimate. And how I know that the story is probably 1000% false is because it is nearly the equivalent of her prior story that was told. Now, I'll put another passage on the screen before you. This is an excerpt from a 1965 Alex Haley interview of Martin Luther King Jr. Now, the irony here is funny. I'll get to that in a minute, but first let's read the passage. I will never forget a moment in Birmingham when a white policeman accosted a little Negro girl, 7 or 8 years old, who was walking in a demonstration with her mother. Quote, what do you want, unquote. That seems very familiar to, the baby, what do you need from the other one. Matter of fact, let's put them both on the screen right here. Both at the same time so we can see what's going on. What do you want? The policeman asked her gruffly, and the little girl looked him straight in the eye and answered, Fweedom. So Fweedom, it is almost the exact same thing from a passage that came out in 1965. You're talking about 50 years ago, 55 years ago. So how did you just happen to say nearly the exact same thing and have some of the exact same things that were said by other people in that? All right. But we'll continue. She couldn't even pronounce it, but she knew it was beautiful. Many times when I've been in sorely trying situations, the memory of that little one is coming to my mind and has buoyed me. All right. So you see the passages side by side, one from the Alex Haley MLK interview, 1965, and the other one from the 2020 Elle magazine interview of Kamala Harris. It seems almost the exact same. Not just the whole Fweedom part, but also the thing that was said by someone else to the little girl in question. This is plagiarism, pure and simple. But getting back to the whole Alex Haley thing and the irony behind that, Alex Haley is the guy that created the movie called Roots, which is pure fiction, by the way. If you think that a bunch of white guys in a trade boat can pull up on the shore of Africa, go into the interior of the continent without catching malaria and dying almost instantly with a bunch of fish nets and throw them on black folks running through the forest. I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. I got a lake in the mountain in Wyoming to sell you. I got all of that right now if you believe that story. This is pure fiction, all right? Not only was the movie fiction, it was also plagiarized from a book called The African that came out many years before, all right? Because there was a book, Roots, then there was a movie. Alex Haley plagiarized almost the entire thing. So it was plagiarized fiction. Also, Joe Biden is a well-known plagiarist. He ran for president 3 times, 1988, 2008, and 2020. 1988 was derailed because he wasn't really a good candidate, but beyond that, he had some issues with plagiarism, all right? Also, Kamala Harris is coming up with lies and everything else, so it just kind of makes sense, all right? You're going to plagiarize a plagiarizer. You're going to plagiarize a plagiarizer, and your president is a plagiarizer. So it all kind of works. Lying Democrats, it's a tradition, all right? So the Kwanzaa tradition does not really seem to apply. This whole thing about being in a civil rights march when your mom is from the Indian subcontinent and your dad's from Jamaica and your dad owned slaves, his family owned slaves in Jamaica. So this whole thing about, oh, I'm a civil rights activist as a little girl and the troller does not make any sense. What makes more sense is this whole tradition of lying Democrats. That makes all the sense in the world right there. And it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. I think that we've seen this over and over again. Nobody is surprised anymore. We all pretty much expect for these Democrats to lie. I know I expected at this particular point. I don't expect anything other than a lie, than an exaggeration, than a skewing of the truth to fit whatever narrative they want to put out there to the public. I pretty much expect it at this particular point. All right. I don't think that anybody would say that I'm telling a lie or that I'm saying a thing that people don't already believe. This is pretty much par for the course. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are pretty much just placeholders. They're figureheads. This is why Trump is loved so much, because he's not that. He's not a figurehead. He's not just going to be an empty suit. He's going to be a guy that actually rules from the front rather than the back. Meaning he's not going to just take orders, take an itinerary, and do whatever they say. He's going to, do things the way that he sees fit, and he's trying to get the best result for the country. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they do whatever they're told. All right. That interview, she might have been coached on the interview to create that whole story, not even knowing that it was lifted from an interview 50 years ago. I mean, how would she know that? She's not going to care anything about civil rights or, it's funny how the internet nearly immediately, I'm talking about instantly, recognized what she said as, plagiarism from an old MLK interview. But she didn't see it. The team didn't see it. I think they don't even really care, because the way they look at it as I close is that the Democrats can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, as long as they have the proverbial moral high ground. It doesn't even matter. They pretty much do whatever they want, and that's how it is. The media will not report on this. Are you going to see this on the news tonight on NBC, ABC, CNBC, M13 DNC? Are you going to see it there? Or are you going to see it on the alternative news? Then they want to call us fake and phony. No, we're the actual real news. We're bringing out things that the media is not wanting to touch for a political reason. I'll touch all the stories. It doesn't matter if I look good or if I look bad. I'm going to touch on all the stories. This one right here, probably won't get touched too much by the mainstream media, but I've laid all the information in front of you. You can make your own mind up if you believe that I am accurate or if she is accurate. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Kamala Harris did not plagiarize the story? Do you think that she really was out there in the march and she screeched out "Fweedom" when she fell from the stroller and was separated from her family, quote unquote? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or was this a thing that was probably written for her, that she was coached on to say? I think that you have image consultants, people that are behind the scenes orchestrating these things to make the vice president, quote unquote, vice president elect, and the quote unquote president elect look a certain kind of way. They don't just speak straight from the heart, straight from, their mind. They are reciting things that they have been taught to say by their handlers. That's pretty much how it's going to be. And you know what? I'm going to say one last thing here. I feel like at a certain point, people like politicians. They like the kind of pre-recorded messages you hear from the politicians. They don't want to hear things that kind of come out raw and uncultured and not really refined. They want that clear message that has already been rehearsed. It doesn't matter if it's fake. It doesn't matter if it's a lie, because it sounds good. It makes them feel good. And too many of us are wrapped up in the whole feel good, sound good thing. We got to get back to reality, a place where Kamala Harris does not appear to exist. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.